So we're going to talk about some of the wrap-up tasks. A lot of the tasks are similar to what you see at the midterm, turning in grades and that kind of thing. So welcome, and virtual cookies for you, Susan. We have real cookies, and they smell really good. They smell kind of like malt. I don't know why, but they smell delicious. We'll have some delicious virtual cookies. Okay, today's agenda, we're going to look at grade calculation, because that's really important when you're turning in your final grade. Exporting grades to turn into your department, printing a final exam, or in the exam really, different ways of looking at the overall class performance on a test. There are 3 different ways. I have one of them listed, and that's because I forgot to update my PowerPoint. So there are 3 different ways we can look at the statistics on performance class-wide for a test. So that's important for assessment. So. And then the course copy and combo process. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And flip Blackboard. And I will keep checking the chat, Susan, if you have anything, any questions or anything, just feel free to go ahead and chat those, and I'll just swap back and forth. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the grade center calculations, and I'm going to go into full grade center here. One of the first things you need to do when you're calculating final grades to submit is make sure that you have zeros entered, because anywhere there are just these dashes, that's a null, so that means it's not factoring into that student's overall total. So if you had a student who got 100% of the first assignment and never turned anything else in during the semester, if you don't put in the zeros, they have an A in the class, and that's not awesome.
That's good to know.
So
we don't need to if they've been dropped, but they're still sharing.
Yes, exactly. If they're dropped, you don't have to add in the zeros. But if they're still in the class, you need to add in the zeros.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then weighted grades. Does anybody use weighted grades? Okay. Weighted grades, we had a lot of instructors using Pinnacle when they were using weighted grades, but all online courses are now going to be required to use Blackboard Grade Center for grades. And there were some issues concerning the calculations of weighted grades in Blackboard. There are 2 different methods for using weighted grades. One is equal weighting within a category of each item, and the other is proportional. So neither is more correct than the other, but mathematically they're different. If you want more information about, like, mathematically how that adds up, talk to Matt Harris, because he's a math guy. Yeah, but if you just, the reason there was a discrepancy was because default in Blackboard is one method and default in Pinnacle is the other. So they weren't wrong, they were just different. So the most important thing to remember when you're working with weighted grades, no matter which method you choose, is that it's based on categories. So you want to make sure that your weighted total, when you edit your column information, you want to make sure that your totals here, and this is where you can set that equal or proportional. You want to make sure that all of your category weights are what they should be, and it won't let you not add them up to 100%, and that all of your categories are included in there. And then also that all of your individual grade items are in a category and that they're in the right category. And a quick way to check that is the Manage Column Organization screen. And this, instead of scrolling around, gives you all the information about just the columns without the student data. So you can see the category that everything is in, assignment, discussion, test, and the point value. So you can kind of at a glance see, like, oh, that's why none of my grades make sense. That's supposed to be 10 points, not 100 points, or that should be in this category. And one of the things that you can do from this screen is bulk edit the category. So you don't have to go into the lessons, find the item, edit the item, change the category. You can select the items with the checkboxes and change category to involved discussion right there. You do want to make sure you click submit when you completed your changes. So that's one of the few areas in Blackboard that allows bulk edit. So it's very helpful for that. And so do you guys have any more questions about weighted grades? If you're using yeah, just to make sure. Yeah, and that's always a good practice. So the other thing that we see a lot the end of the semester is instructors who need a copy of their grade center to give to the department chair.
That's what we use.
Yeah.
Remember how to use it.
And that is super easy. Hover over the work offline button
And this is for what process, I'm sorry?
to get a copy of your entire grade center out
Okay,
so you
okay.
can turn it into the department.
Okay.
And then click on download. And then you can leave, it'll pull up another screen, and you can leave everything as default and click submit. And then you have to click download again. Because we're working in Blackboard, right click once and we can click twice. Important step here is remember where you saved it. Some browsers automatically save to the default downloads folder, but if it gives you save as dialog box, you just want to make sure you know where you're putting that. And then go ahead and click save, and then we'll open it back up. And you'll get this warning message the first time you open it, and that's telling you it's pulling the data from somewhere else. And so we want to say yes because we want that data. And this is,
Okay, after you just say, does it automatically go to that next?
I opened it because I'm using Google Chrome, it shows up in my downloads.
Okay, it came up with download grade, right?
Yes, after you click it.
It is download.
Yeah. So once you have your data out in Excel, you can perform different calculations, you can format it, you can arrange columns, you can get rid of columns that are not necessary, whatever you need to do to satisfy the requirements of your department. Another important step here is when you finish making your edits, you want to do a file save as, and again, make note of where you're saving your file. And this saves as type. Unicode text is going to open up, it's going to be all gibberish. So you want to switch that to Excel workbook, and then you can just name the file and make note of where you're saving it so you can find it and attach it to an email, and then click save. And now if we go to my desktop, I'll have those final grades right there.
But it doesn't remove them from those.
No, it doesn't remove them from Blackboard, it just takes a copy of them out.
Okay.
So if you go in then afterwards and change grades in Blackboard, it's not going to update on the spreadsheet. So, also, I had an instructor ask earlier today if you would save it as a PDF, and you can when you do a save as. Instead of switching that to Excel workbook, you could switch it to PDF. Now, you'd want to make sure you have your formatting so that things fit on a page. Otherwise, just have pages and pages of bits and pieces.
So we better change, say in Excel and go back and look in Excel, save as again.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think most departments accept the Excel file as is. I don't think many instructors have to do a lot of formatting. I don't know who the Excel file will go to. I can just tell instructors how to get them out. So I assume
We get
it's
a couple more emails.
Not all
yeah.
genetics, just from the call to.
Ron,
Yeah.
Ron,
Yeah. Okay. So that's exporting the grades, and
what was that first step?
okay,
What did you click on to start?
it's
And
the
you went in and
It's the right-hand corner of
the work
offline,
offline.
And
Yeah, I
then
missed
down.
that part. Okay.
and you don't actually have to click it; you just hover over it and it pops out.
Okay.
Okay. Then printing an exam. There's no native print function for tests in Blackboard. So at Blackboard Support, we have a software that will actually export it and convert it into a Word document with the answer key and everything. So if you need a copy of your final to give to your department or you just want one, then just let us know the course ID and the test name, and then we can do that for you, and we'll email it right to you. Okay, then let's see. Oh, assessment data for tests is something that we that's really useful, and there are 3 different ways to get the data. All of them you can start at the full grade center, and from the column header menu in the drop-down, there's 3 different items: item analysis, attempt statistics, and download results. We're going to start with the most basic and then work our way to the most complex, or the most specific, really. Attempt statistics, and this used to be the only option we had, really.
If they take a test online.
Yes,
Oh,
this
okay,
is in
I
black.
don't know the others showing up to me.
Oh, okay.
But it's still online.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
So yeah, if you give a test in Blackboard, then you can run the attempt statistics. And this particular test only has one question on it. But it gives you basic information about the average score, the number of attempts that were made, and any attempts that need to be graded and so on. Then over here you have the percentage of students that answered each of the different choices. And if there have been more questions, they would just simply be stacked downward. So on this question, 96.951 attempts, and so that's not students, so if a student took it more than once, it would count as a separate attempt. This answer was chosen. So where this becomes really useful as an instructional tool is that you can see if I had this is the correct answer, but 96% of my students had selected this one, that tells me either I put the wrong correct answer marked, or the question is phrased poorly, or I'm not teaching something properly. So it's a really helpful tool, and it gives you a lot of quick sort of basic information on that. And that's attempt statistics. The other option we have is item analysis, and that's a fairly new tool. When you click on item analysis, you'll come to a new screen, and you'll be able to select, it will show whichever test you selected, but if you select the wrong one, you can change it right here. Then you'll click run, and it takes a couple of minutes. And it does also send you an email. Well, it sends the instructor in the course an email. Okay, and there it is. And it has the date and time. We click on that, and it gives you just a little bit more information than the attempt statistics. It gives the average score and the average time. A lot of instructors find that helpful if they're using a timer and they can see every semester students are going over the amount of time or they're very close to the time limit, then maybe you can adjust your time limit. It gives you just a lot of statistical overview data there.
Oh. Up at the top, the question, third question, fourth question.
Yes. It considers this a good question because most students got it right. Yeah,
okay.
Because students got it right.
I was wondering who made that discernment, and it's the program itself.
Exactly. Those are the calculations that it makes, and they have a key down here which kind of gives you icons that tell you something about the way they make those decisions. And it is Blackboard that sort of makes those decisions. And again, if all of your students had answered a question wrong and they had all chosen mostly the same wrong answer, then that would be considered a poor question.
Would it be poor or would it be hard?
It would be hard if most students got, not most, but like,
maybe they took longer
like,
or something on it?
No, if they get the question wrong, but they get different wrong answers,
okay.
That's a hard question.
Okay.
So it's a lot of different calculations
okay.
that Blackboard puts
Okay.
into it.
A poor question would be one where 90% were all
Wrong in the
B,
same way.
should have been A.
Exactly. Yeah, because then
Okay.
obviously something's wrong with the question. So then it gives you a little bit more detail. It kind of gives you these icons, these indicators to sort of flag, like maybe you should check into this. So you don't have to look at, okay, all my students in the attempt statistics, okay, all of them got this percentage wrong, and make those calculations yourself. It kind of does a little bit of it for you. But it's the machine doing it, so there's going to be there could be some errors. If maybe you know that is the right answer and it was a trick question or something like that. So that's the attempt statistics. And if we go back to Grade Center, the last and most detailed data that you can get is to download the results. And downloading the results, and you can leave all of these options at default. Click download. And this is similar to exporting the Grade Center. You're exporting all of the, and you want to make note of where you're saving. and then we're going to go ahead and open it, and we'll give that same prompt as before, and it gives you the student's ID and name, the question, and in this case, there's only one question in the test, the question text, and the answer that was selected, the total points possible for that question, the points that were automatically scored for that question if it's multiple choice or true false, and then the manually entered, if you had an essay question and you had graded it and then you ran this, it would put whatever manual score you had entered. So from here, you can perform a lot of calculations using Excel formulas to determine how students performed on each different question. And it's really helpful for gathering assessment data and evaluating which questions are doing well or which types of questions are high performing among which sections, so you know how to adjust practice. In this case, it's just one question. So. And if you wanted some assistance with working in Excel to do the data analysis, we're happy to do that, but it's not something we really train over because it is a really pretty massive undertaking most times. So. But it does give you the absolute most information. It gives you all the information that there is to be had, and then it forces you to have to do the analysis part. So the other options give you less information, but they do all the work for you. So, does anybody have any questions about assessment data or anything so far?
We don't test online.
So you have to do it by hand?
Yeah, we do it all.
Now, I'm going to be, well, for the proctoring, are we expected to have that available online? We are, right? Aren't we?
Are you teaching online or
yes.
seated?
Yeah,
okay. What courses do you teach?
The PLS 201 International Relations.
Yes.
The first time we've done this.
Gotcha. And I think they have a departmental final.
Yes. Well, the PLS 201 is the only section.
Oh, okay.
And I'm creating. Yes.
Okay.
So
yeah, it'll have to be online.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. With Mindy to sure you got all over there. I have the paper version, and everything, but
yeah,
I have to translate all that content
into Blackboard. Yeah, and the software that we have that takes Blackboard tests into Word will go the other way, but the formatting is really specific,
yeah.
and I can send you over the documentation for that. It might, I mean,
if you would,
yeah.
That way, if I don't get everything covered with Mindy this afternoon, I'll
yeah. If you get the form, mostly you just have to not have auto numbering and keep your answers vertical, and then just put an asterisk by the correct answer. Just strip out any headings and anything fancy. So, okay, Susan, did you have any questions about attempt statistics or item analysis or downloading results? Okay. Okay, and the last item, you're flying right by. The last item I wanted to talk about is the course copy and combination process. So that's something that a lot of instructors use, both seated and online. Course copies can start as soon as the courses for the next semester populate. So we're already processing those. And you can request the copy ahead of time if you want. And we'll just put it on hold and we'll say, we'll start populating them when we get them. Once the courses are up and available, it doesn't take us any time at all. We keep on top of those. So if you ask for a course copy, it's most likely going to get done the same day unless you wait until like 4:59. And then it's probably the next day.
Yeah, I think Zach replaced my already asked for the course copy, which is, I don't have the last 2 weeks in yet, so I'll probably need to
you can
populate that, or ask to have those put in later. Or something.
Well, course copies, when we do a course copy, we do the whole thing. It's sort of an all or nothing deal. Very rarely can we do bits and pieces.
Okay.
But so if you just keep working, because we've got until break to get it done. So
remind us to have it recopied.
Yeah. So once we copy in or when we get a request for a copy, and there is a form out there, but you don't have to use the form. Just email me the course you want copied and where you want it and what course you want it copied into, and we can take care of that. So long as we have the full course ID. The important thing is that we have the course ID with the section number and the semester tag. So because if you've taught the same course for 6 semesters.
Yeah, this will be the first.
Yeah, usually it'll be easy. So we just need to know which section of which semester you want copied to which section of the new semester. Personally, I don't. I don't see the need for a form. We need to know what's copying, where it's going. So long as you're clear, that's fine.
Can we put like several of them?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. The things that slow us down mostly are, like I said, not having the full course IDs, and then if on the schedule you're not assigned to that course. So if you're asking us to copy a course that's not yours, we have to ask the department chair or the lead online or the instructor who owns the course if we can copy their stuff. And then if you're not the instructor for the Spring 15 course, if you want that instructor, we would say, well, that's not your course. And if you said, well, the department chair just told me I'm going to get that, we're going to change the schedule, we have to wait. We have to wait. And then a lot of times we see where the instructor is on the schedule, we make the copy, then the schedule changes at the last minute, which never happens around here. So then an instructor is thrown into a course that another instructor has already copied into. And we can go ahead and clear everything out and do a new copy, but then you're getting a course at the last minute, which is unfortunate, but there's not really a lot we can do about that. So course combinations are only for online courses, online sections. We can't combine seated sections. But so if you had a W01 and a W02, you would just copy into W01 or build in W01 and make all your updates and get it shiny and pretty and just leave W02 on. And then that way you only have to do the work once, not twice. So then when we combine them, everybody jumped in W01 and the W02 is just a ghost. The issue with that is we can't do it until the day before the courses go live for students. So again, if you get thrown a course at the last minute and you would combine 1 and 2 and then all of a sudden you've got 3 and nobody's done anything in 3 and students get into the course, it's going to be blank. So it's just a matter of as soon as you know, let us know. And
So you do the combine.
we do the combos. And the reason we can only do it the day before the courses go live to students is because of scheduling. And if a course is canceled and it's combined, that causes problems because those students that might be in that canceled section have to be moved to another section. It's all kinds of complicated.
So how do students do? Do they see everybody in both classes together?
They do. Yeah, it's like they're in one big course, which depending on the subject and then depending on the number of students, it's a good thing. If you have,
if you separate them into groups.
yes, you can still divide them into groups for assignments if you want, but if you have like 7 or 12 students in one course and 12 students in another and you combine them, so you have 24, that's a good group for discussion board. They're going to have plenty of activity. If you have like 25 students in one course and 25 students in another and you have 50, depending on the subject, that might be a little overwhelming. So it's just something you kind of have to determine for your own practice what's going to function best for you and for your students depending on your content. So exactly, yeah.
So when it gets to be grade time, is that a problem then?
Nope. It works exactly the same. So it's just like you have one really big course.
Now, the course I'm going to teach, one of the courses I'm set to possibly teach next semester, a different instructor is teaching, and it's copied into mine, my section. But because the semester's not over, not all the discussion topics will be completed probably. I don't know, maybe they will be. I have to go in and check.
Okay.
But if they're not,
like if students haven't participated?
Yeah, well, if the discussion is hasn't been created yet or something. I'm pretty sure they probably are, but if they're
Yeah.
not, then I would just go and either do it myself. I wouldn't ask for a recopy.
Right, right.
Okay.
Because if you, and the other important thing on that note is that if we've completed a copy, we can do another copy if you want, but we have to delete everything that's in there. So if you've made
I
updates,
have made changes.
Yeah.
And stuff already.
you don't want to lose those. So it's going to be easier to say like add the last 2 units than it would be to
Right.
do all those updates again.
And the Grade Center, all the calculating stuff gets transferred, but not the name from the Grade Center.
Exactly, exactly.
That's what I'm-
Yes. Now, what does copy over, like no student grades copy over, but student posts on the discussion board, those do copy over. And they're all listed as anonymous, but you have to go in and delete all of them. So if you go in the forum, select all, delete, select all, delete. So it's a little bit labor intensive, but at least there's the select all option. So. And thankfully they come in as anonymous, so most of them are identifying themselves in their post anyway.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something you want to do before your new students get
Right.
in and see the old student work. So, Susan, do you have any questions about course copies or combos?
If you're teaching one section in a class and it doesn't make, it stays in your Blackboard and you can recopy it over to the next semester.
No, if a course doesn't make at all and it gets canceled, it will disappear. Yeah.
How do I get rid of old courses
That's a good
in my
question.
Blackboard then?
Okay, to get rid of old courses, when you're on your My Courses list, when you hover over the box, and I don't know why they don't make stuff visible unless you hover over it, there's a little sprocket here, and when you click on that, you can do a lot of things. Group by term is helpful because then, all your 14, all your, it's the My Courses screen.
And then you touch the sprocket.
Yeah, there's a little sprocket up
And
there.
then you hit group by term.
And that'll group them together. And then to not see, if you don't want to see any of, see them at all, and there's that I don't want to see at all. Oh, this one, I don't think you see this one. So what do we do is check it and then uncheck it. And that unchecks all of these boxes. So nothing is checked, so this course won't show up in my course list anymore. You do have to click submit at the bottom. And then that course won't show up in my list anymore. The good thing about grouping by terms is you can collapse the terms. So then you have, you have an easier list to work with. So group by terms is like the best gadget I've ever when it comes to course lists. There is, if you have a course that you've hidden, it will still show up in your calendar. So when if you use the calendar tool, it will still show up in your calendars. See, I have thousands of calendars. But there's not much we can do about it. You can uncheck them, you can check them on. So check them on. That's about it.
You would check one and then later want to see it again. Should you get to it?
You can get back to it, just by clicking that sprocket again, because it doesn't take it out of this list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should come see the list.
Okay,
right.
that's good because I'm
That is great.
Yeah.
I was afraid that was like
Yeah.
doing it completely.
Yeah, no, you're not cutting ties forever, but you're just taking it out of the list. Because those lists can get very unruly. Because
they used to delete.
after 3 semesters,
Okay,
they
after 3
disappear.
semesters of the
Yeah.
story.
But for 3 semesters, you have.
Unless I
That's
ask
something
you.
as long as don't teach every semester, you can flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's another thing with course copies. We do get requests sometimes, and somebody says, can you copy my PLS 101 course from the last time I taught it? I don't remember when it was. Well, we do our best to try and find out when that was, but we don't have every instructor's schedule memorized. So if you can at all figure out when that was, that helps. But
we have students that come back and say, hey, I took a class 6 years ago. Do you have the syllabus? I want the syllabus for that or something.
Yeah.
They got to figure out, okay, we kind of, well, this would be a good way to be able for the instructor to go back and solve this off if we don't have it.
Exactly. And it'll be there for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So, well, for 3
Yeah,
semesters.
3 semesters.
So it might seem like a long amount of time. Well, do you guys have any more questions? That's all I had to cover. I just wanted to make sure everybody's ready for the semester wrap up. And we are here anytime you want to work one-on-one on a project. If there's something that's bugging you, we're happy to help. We can, if you're on a different campus, we can come to you. Also, we are collecting feedback for PD for 2015. I'm in the middle of planning it now. So if there's a day that works better for you or a time that works better for you, let me know. If there's a topic you want, if you want more hands-on labs, if you want different cookies, anything, just let us know, because that's we're getting ready to plan the whole year. So, and I am starting something. We'll have the once a month open labs, which are next Tuesday or Wednesday for this one, because we want it right before break. And then I'm also starting a First Friday faculty favorites. So send in your request, and that's what we'll cover specifically on the First Friday of each month.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thank you, Susan.